I don't sit on my chair. I've been saving for it for so long. Keep it in the cover. Oh, my gaming mouse. I'll put it in the plastic bag. Now it will work forever. What is this? What? Really? On my chair? How dare you? How dare you, so triggered? I will avenge my chair by dislikes and bad comments.
Well, hello there.
Flashback.
Today's video is special. It took me 2 months to film it, and I had to involve my nephew to fully test all these gaming chairs just for you guys. And we'll try to answer this common question. What is the most suitable gaming chair for you in the mid-price point? And since most of these chairs look alike, we'll try to answer the question. Are they all the same? And before we proceed, let's be done with that administrative stuff. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and the bell. Let's help other people to find this video and make it useful for everyone. Unless you want to be that mean person who never shares with anyone. Are you one of those?
By sheer coincidence.
Or maybe not. The SecretLab is releasing a brand new chair or some kind of update about their chairs right now. And that's another reason to stay tuned and hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button below. Because of course, I'll make a review about that new product. Just one hint about this video. Make sure you watch it through without skipping, because there will be a lot of comparisons between all these chairs against each other. And if you're skipping, you might miss some of the points.
End of Flashback.
Hello, I'm Roman. And I'm Mike. And today we're looking at 4 most popular brands in the gaming chair segment. We'll try to find out which one is the best out of these 4 and what they're made of. So what we got today? We got the SecretLab's Titan chair. We got the Alienware by Vertagear S5000 series. We got a new kid on the block, CybeArt. This is a brand new company based in Canada. And this is my cat. And on the far side over there, we have the Noblechairs Doom Edition chair. During the assembly of these chairs, we found out that most of them are made of identical or nearly identical parts. For example, the CybeArt and the SecretLab, together with the Noblechairs, they share the same tilt mechanism at the bottom. They also share the base. What looks like the Noblechairs is a prototype of the SecretLab's Titan XL. Based on the look, unfortunately, I don't have the actual Titan XL with me. The armrests are identical on the SecretLab and the CybeArt. The wheels are identical on the SecretLab with the Noblechairs. And the Vertagear is a Frankenstein of itself, made from SL5000 Vertagear chair, and is made of different parts that Vertagear utilizes in different chair models, as you can see it from their website. This is something else we noticed. As you can see, the top portion is leveled on the chairs, but the base is lower. This shows us that the back is taller on the Noblechair. If you compare the CybeArt and the SecretLab, this is what you see. The base is on the same level and the height of the back is identical. But what you'll see here is the shape of this curvature here, and on the CybeArt, the way it goes, right? So, and then this portion sticking out is slightly lower than what SecretLab has. The highest point of the curvature here on the CybeArt is slightly lower than on the SecretLab. I'm not quite sure what's really different here between the two chairs, made of the same size and the curvature here at the top. I think the CybeArt has more curvature here on the shoulder support, while the SecretLab is more like on the medium side, and the Noblechair is probably the largest one. That's why Mike and we could not feel it at all. And the bottom portion, the Side support is also sticking out a little bit less on the SecretLab when compared to the CybeArt. 11 centimeters approximately, or 4.5 inches. And on this one, 12.5 centimeters or 5 inches. And this top portion from the seam, 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters. And this one here from the seam is 5 inches and 1/4 or approximately 13.5 centimeters. Top portion is 10 inches. It's also about, it's actually 9.5. Top is slightly smaller, even though from the side, when they're next to each other, they look very similar. These two chairs, when placed next to each other, look identical, but there are some differences. Both chairs use the same wheelbase star, with the only difference is that the SecretLab is the glossy one and the CybeArt is the matte one. Even the logos of both chairs are very similar, so this is the SecretLab and this is the CybeArt. And this is how the Noblechairs compares to the SecretLab. As you can see, it's slightly thicker, yet the shape of the thing here is pretty much identical to the SecretLab. If you measure the size at the top, it's around 10 inches, same as what SecretLab has. Then this edge goes out the entire 6 inches. And the side support goes out 5 inches.
When it comes to the tilt handle as well as the height adjustment handles, they are the same in the Noblechairs and the CybeArt chair.
And even the same on the SecretLab's Titan XL.
When it comes to the lumbar support, it is identical in both the SecretLab and the Noblechairs. It's also the same in CybeArt, except for the part that they were more attentive in the aesthetic-wise, where they put the cover over it so you can't see the inside of the chair. Finally, we also have the tilt angles on all the chairs, which are identical with slight changes in small degrees on Alienware and Noblechairs.
So what we've done here, we have tested individually for 1 week each, and we've been sitting in them, playing with them, sleeping in them, eating, and all the stuff you do in your chair. Myself, I weigh approximately 220 pounds, and Mike is about the same. Height-wise, I'm 6.2, 6.3-ish, like in between there. And Mike is?
6'5", 6'4".
6'5", 6'4". I guess that's why we couldn't fit ourselves into the Alienware chair by Vertagear, but we were pretty comfortable in the lineup of these chairs by CybeArt, Noblechairs, and SecretLab. What's interesting as well, the SecretLab, they actually specialize in breaking down those chair sizes. So for the smaller people, they have Omega series, which is very similar to what Vertagear does over there with Alienware. Then they have the Titan series, which is exactly this one, and it's designed for people of over 180 centimeters tall. And CybeArt, what they do is they do one seat fits all program, where they actually make a slightly shorter base. It's wide enough in the base and it's wide enough for the shoulders. And the Noblechairs, what they do here is they again went with the one chair fits all size, but they went on the larger side. So while the CybeArt is trying to downsize, the Noblechairs, they are trying to increase the base, increase the shoulder support, and the overall chair came out slightly bulkier than the rest of them here. So by the looks of it, the Noblechair I'm sitting on, it seems to be identical to the SecretLab's Titan XL, at least from the pictures. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to see it in the actual Titan XL. All right, now let's look at the chairs. As I mentioned, this is a SecretLab, this is a Titan version. One of the primary issues I had is that this portion of the base over here is too hard, and it tends to cut off the blood flow around your knee area. And here is why it's happening. The actual padding in that specific area for your knee support is too thin, and if you press hard on it, you can actually feel the frame of the chair base with your finger. I noticed that this happens more frequently when you tend to tilt the seat base slightly down so that it sticks up and creates that extra pressure on your thigh. With that said, that's not the most comfortable feeling to experience when you sit in your chair for 8 or 10 hours a day. Yet, that's actually one of the primary advantages of the SecretLab chairs. That's what they are good at. They intentionally make the harder chair. So if you try to touch it on both sides there, the entire chair is like rock solid, and it's harder to press on. All the sidebars and the butt support here is made of the tougher material, but for some reason the thigh support area was not made strong enough. And the overall material, the PU leather that they use, seems to be harder than, for example, the CybeArts, but slightly softer than what Noblechairs is using. And the main advantage of the harder PU leather is that it's long-lasting, and it will be harder to stretch and spoil it by sitting in it for long hours, as we gamers like to do. The stitching and embroidery on the SecretLab chair is great. I would say it's probably one of the best in this entire selection of chairs. Look at all the graphics here. There's really nothing to pick on. One of the cool tiny small features that they use here is the magnetic side covers. Saves you a couple of minutes screwing that screw in like on the other chairs, and just adds up to that like premium feeling of the chair. What we didn't like though is that this chair, the SecretLab and the Noblechairs I'm sitting on, they tend to not cover properly the hole from the lumbar support pipe, and it sticks out and it looks like to be like unpainted inside and rusty, as you can see on the video there, which could be improved in the same way that CybeArt did here. Let's look at the tilt angle of this chair. Mike is going to demonstrate it for us. It's pretty good, it's nearly flat. You have that like what, 15 degrees difference between the base and the back, but it's pretty comfortable to sleep in, right? There's another way to adjust it as well, so you can also adjust the base and change the angle. And now if you try to slide it down all the way, it goes to nearly flat position altogether. One of the most useless features of this chair is the pillow. And when you sit on it properly, like Mike does, and you try to adjust it by yourself, it tends to slip off from the chair, and it always kind of falls off or gets loose. So that's something that SecretLab needs to work on. Also, speaking about the pillow, it's one of the cheaper design ones, and it has this strip at the back that I've seen on the internet tends to fall apart after some time. As mentioned earlier, so the Noblechairs and the SecretLab, they share the same wheels, and those are not the best ones because they're hard. At least they are on the harder side. They try to make it somewhat softer, so for the heavier guys like two of us, it's pretty hard to roll in the chair altogether if you try, even on the hard floor. And then another downside I noticed with the armrests is that they're shaking. That's not the worst. The chair tilt mechanism tends to squeak, especially when you move from one side to another side. It tends to squeak, and we found the same issue to be present on the CybeArt. However, even though there's identical tilt support on the Noblechairs, I guess because it's larger, we didn't notice any squeaks from the base. In fact, it's pretty hard to actually, create any pressure on the base because it's so big. And since all these three chairs share the same tilt mechanism, so they tend to be rocking like that. And there's nothing you can do about it. And we actually tighten the spring to the max. You have this knob at the bottom that you can adjust, and it still doesn't help with it. All of them are rocking back and forward, regardless of the position of your mechanism. Now the price and the warranty. The SecretLab chair is priced anywhere between from approximately $450 when it's on discount and all the way up to 650 Canadian dollars. The warranty on SecretLab is very interesting. On all the models that are made from 2020 and onwards, they carry 3-year warranty, And you can actually extend it for additional 2 years, all the way to 5, for extra $50, or by posting the picture of your chair on social media and providing the link to SecretLab. That's a cool marketing trick right there.
From what we found is that the armrest, the wheelbase, and the tilt mechanism are identical between CybeArt and the SecretLabs. The only difference that we found was that the armrests in CybeArt were a little bit harder and tougher than the ones in SecretLab. CybeArt is making a one-size-fits-all chair. From our experience from using this and an alternative from a Noblechairs, which is also a one-size-fits-all, this has been a much more comfortable fit from across any size, whether you're small or big. We also found that CybeArt has the best wheels out of all the lined up chairs. It's the biggest wheel. It is also one of the fastest spinning ones. They're also quite soft, so they won't ruin your hard floors. CybeArt claims that the materials that they use are higher quality and are softer than the competitors that they have. And it's true because we found that out of the ones that we've tested, that this is the softest chair. As you can see here, it's really easy to squish it. Yeah, and compared to the Noblechairs, which was the hardest chair that we found, this is almost impossible to pinch down. We also found that the base for this chair is much shorter than the ones in SecretLab, which help with when sitting in prolonged periods, and it doesn't cut off blood flow in your lower thigh. You can see the embroidery and stitching on the design of this chair is on par with the quality of the SecretLab and the Noblechairs. Though we can see that the design can use some further development into being something a bit more unique.
And unique is definitely something that CybeArt is working on. Don't forget, they're a brand new company established less than a year ago. And yet, some of their latest designs I see on their website and Instagram are amazing. That can only hint you at one thing: they are on the right path.
The pillow on the chair is the best out of all the chairs that we had here. First of all, it is adjustable from the back to tighten it up, and it doesn't really fall off when you're sitting in it. So you can adjust it to the position you want and it will barely fall off. And it is also the most comfortable one. It's not too soft and not too hard, so it's perfect to just rest your head on and your neck. The CybeArt chair, likewise with the SecretLab chair, all have this squeaking noise when you're sitting on it and leaning back or shuffling in your seat. So we have the tilt controls here. It will be pretty similar to the SecretLab and the Noblechairs. So just the tilt control here, we can see that it maxes out on 180 degrees. Now the maximum you can go, including this tilt, is pretty much on the floor. Yeah. And kind of scary too. A quality of life change that CybeArt added that SecretLab and Noblechairs didn't was covering up the hole that was in the lumbar support. It's not a big change, but it does make it look much more effective and cleaner. And at the same time, they could have used a bit more time to think of the side covers for the support system. And finally, the warranty for the chair is 5 years.
Next is the Alienware S5000 series. It's a good concept of the chair, but there are a lot of downsides that come with this chair. And one of the main downsides is that there is no proper lumbar support. Instead, they decided to devise this kind of additional pillow here, which you're supposed to mount on this built-in pillow in the back support that constantly tends to fall off. So once you actually set it up properly for yourself and you sit in it, it's good. The downside is once you stand up from it, you have to redo it every single time, because while you're sitting in it, it tends to fall off from the mounting here, and it just looks like that most of the time. Now, while we're here, I also want to mention the microfiber materials that they have used here to put on the base and on the back. It's impossible to clean up, especially if you have a cat or just in general, like everything tends to stick to it. So you end up cleaning your chair pretty much every other day. While with the other competitors here who have the leather backing, you don't have that issue whatsoever. And again, gamers usually don't like cleaning. The base itself is one of the narrow bases and it's made for skinnier people. Mike and I, we barely fit in this chair, especially if you have the wider shoulders. Then these corners, they stick out so much that they start to cut through your shoulder after sitting in it for a while. So you tend to kind of constantly lean forward in this chair while you're sitting and doing your stuff.
This is much less comfortable instantly for me because I'm a big guy. It's instantly pressing down on my thighs and I don't feel comfortable at all. I can tell that after like an hour, I'll hate sitting in this. The back also, my shoulders don't fit in it either, completely. Well, there's a lot of friction on my bum, so it would be harder to get out, but...
Yeah, have a big bum, so...
Yeah. Feels... Like the material feels okay. I do feel like I would sweat a lot because of the black material that they have.
The neck support pillow here, it's also on the cheaper side, but it's fine, it's nothing too fancy about it. Alienware mentions on their website, they claim that this Alien logo and the Alienware branding, same on the chair, is made with the real silver thread. Is it true or not? Not too sure. But honestly, it doesn't look that great. It looks dirty here. If they made it just, bright white, I think it would look better. Then going to the parts of this chair. The overall assembly process for this chair took us, I think, the longest out of all these three, because it had some issues with the way how you connect the back to the base while screwing in these two screws, and it was like nearly impossible to actually align it properly on your own, so you have to have two people to put it together. And what's funny, Vertagear says that they have effortless assembly and they show exactly the step on their website where we got stuck as an effortless assembly point. Really? And then while we were doing that, some of the stitching fell off here and you can see the staples that they use and attach it to the plastic inserts inside. Now the armrests, they're cheap looking, but they're actually comfortable enough to use. So when you position your arm properly on the armrest, it doesn't really hurt you too much, even after having your elbow against it. So it's just enough for the bone to kind of penetrate the surface there, and it's I would say it's usable, it's good, but it looks like crap for the price. At the same time, the chair I'm sitting in, the Noblechairs, their armrests are horrible. They're hard as rock, and when you sit in it for too long, your elbows start to hurt. I haven't noticed that ever with any of these three chairs. The wheels are also on the cheaper side, and I think they're like one of the worst ones in the segment here. They're slightly wider, so that's a plus, but they barely rotate, as you can see on the video here. And when you try to lift your chair, they have a tendency to fall out completely. So you have to put your chair down, lift it, and try to put it back. How does it roll?
Not well.
Not well, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the
that one rolled like
Superman?
Yeah.
Slide like Superman, right?
Yeah, super fast like Superman too. So yeah, it like once you like right as you start, there's like this like very hard rolls that you have to start with, and then it kind of starts rolling. So it's kind of like the IKEA chairs where they're almost locked, it feels.
The only way for you to tilt it back is a back support. That's the only part that falls down. And that's how far it goes. Now the tilt mechanism. So the tilt mechanism seems to be on the cheaper side, and what features it has, it basically allows you to tilt the back, and you can tilt the bottom as well. But you cannot lock the bottom like you can do on the Noblechairs, CybeArt, and SecretLab. Unfortunately, you'll just end up rocking yourself like that. I mean, you still can lie down and sleep in it, still doable, but if you want to select a specific position, that's not gonna work out for you with this chair. And this arm here, to control it, it's like impossible to stick it in or out, and really it's a mess. Could be better. Another issue with the design I have here is the foam and the construction of the back. So all these corners, they tend to stick out from the PU leather, and it doesn't look as sharp or smooth as the other chairs do. And that's a minus because, again, this is an expensive chair. Speaking of expensive, the price range on these chairs goes anywhere between $500 to $600. And in my opinion, it's not really worth it, regardless if you buy it in the Alienware version or directly from the Vertagear website. Both versions of the chair cost the same amount. And I think if I would have to buy a chair for this price range, I would go for something else. Simply because quality and the price ratio don't match each other. And when it comes to warranty, I couldn't find a proper warranty clause on the Dell's website for this chair. So we assume that the warranty is the same as what Vertagear provides. And 2-year warranty on all those parts that are actually prone to breaking is definitely not a deal breaker for me. But would you want to sit in this chair for 10 years? I doubt that. Yet somehow this chair has 4.4 star review on the Dell website, and I guess it works well for the skinnier people, as I mentioned earlier, and even some of our friends who came over, they preferred this chair, for example, when compared to CybeArt or the SecretLab, but they were on the skinnier side. And this is probably one of the worst chairs out of these 4. And here is why. The problems with this chair started when it arrived. Straight out of the box, we had issues with the packaging. The gas shock tore through the box and could potentially damage the chair, but it didn't happen. Yet what happened? The mounting brackets were open on the base and the backside of the chair was lying on top of it. And due to poor packaging, the PU leather got torn. And even one of these plastic covers got broken. Alright, I agree, it might be a bad luck about the packaging, and we will not judge the entire brand based on one delivery. Let's look at the comfort of this chair, because there are some points to look at. First, let's start with the base. This is the hardest base out of them all, and it's also on the wider side, as I mentioned earlier. With that said, for myself and for Mike, this chair turned out to be on the larger side. There was absolutely no shoulder support with this chair whatsoever. After sitting in this chair for quite some time, we noticed that the bum tends to go numb, and that's simply due to the harder foam insert in the base. I also noticed that the lumbar support is not that much supportive. Let me explain. So you have this knob on the side that you're supposed to turn, and the lumbar is supposed to come out and give you the support for your lower back, just like on every other chair here that has a lumbar built in. Unfortunately, on this chair, because it's so big and so wide, we could not feel the lumbar even when it's maxed out. For instance, you can see the lumbar support moving as it expands underneath the PU leather, but when you sit in the chair, you barely feel it. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or bad thing, but it is what it is. The wheels on this chair are standard wheels, same as the ones on the SecretLab here, and we showed you how they work when we looked at SecretLab chair. So instead, let's look at the armrest. I would say they look slightly better than the ones on the Vertagear chair, and they function like every other arm support on any of these 4 chairs here. They go back and forward, left, right, up and down. But these are the hardest arm supports that I've ever felt on a office chair. And if you're one of those who likes to sit with the elbows placed on the armrest, after sitting in this chair for a couple of hours, you'll understand that this chair is not for you, because your elbows will start hurting since they're constantly pushed against a harder surface. And as mentioned earlier, since the Noblechairs is using the same lumbar support mechanism as the CybeArt and the SecretLab here, they have the same issues with it. Well, at least the same as what SecretLab has. As we mentioned earlier, it's the cover of the lumbar support shaft or a pipe, whatever the knob is sitting on. Here is the backrest mechanism in action. This is how far it goes without the bottom part. And if we activate the bottom part, it goes as low as this, pretty much slightly higher than what SecretLab can do. The graphics and stitching on this chair are great, and they are on par with CybeArt, with the SecretLab, and there is not much to pick on, same as with the other two chairs. In fact, Noblechairs doesn't have too many chairs that actually have any kind of licensed graphics. Just check out their website. However, out of all these 4 brands we have here for you today, the Noblechairs are the only ones who can make you the real leather upholstery. None of these other brands do that. So if you're looking for a real leather, then Noblechairs are the brand to go. And of course, the real leather comes at a premium cost. Now, speaking of the cost, this is the most expensive chair in this lineup here. We paid 650 Canadian dollars for this chair. And despite the highest price tag, they don't even provide you with the neck support pillow like every other chair here does. And what's interesting is that the chairs with the licensed graphics, they don't come with the pillow and they cost more. But if you buy the standard version without any graphics, it would be identical chair and it comes with a pillow. Like and for that extra price, despite claiming that they're a German brand, it only comes with 2 years of warranty. Isn't that great? No pillow, no warranty, overpriced, and one of the cheapest set of tools to assemble this chair that comes with it, and one of the cheaper armrests. Is it really worth the money? Well, when comparing to the CybeArt and the SecretLab, I would say no. And yes, they claim to be German-made chair, but only they design. Everything else is same as on the CybeArt and the SecretLab, is purchased from a third-party manufacturer. And if CybeArt and the SecretLab are trying to buy the premium parts, the Noblechairs is trying to stay in that middle to lower price range parts market, which in return causes the overall quality of the packaging, the overall feel of it, to be on the lower side, despite that great picture which chair presents when you see it for the first time. The standard price range on this chair goes anywhere from $470 to $750. Before we wrap it up, I want you to go to the comments and tell me what you think about all these chairs. Let me know as well if you knew that all these chairs are made of pretty much the same parts, just under a different logo. And tell me as well what chair is the best. Maybe you have one of these, maybe you tried all of them, and what your bum likes to sit on. Here's what we think. So let's start with the Alienware or Vertagear, whatever you call it, it's the same thing. The Alienware version and the Vertagear SL5000, they cost about the same. I think this is a waste of money. If it was like half price of what it is today, it would be a good deal, but not for the current price of $400 for this chair, because it's poorly built, it will not last, and as per the comments and the reviews on the Dell's website actually confirms that. Very often chair starts to fall apart within the first couple of months, and with one of the shorter warranties out there, I don't think that's a great purchase for $400. Noblechairs is the next one on the way out. And to be honest, I was disappointed about this chair when it arrived, when we started assembling it, and when I actually tested it, because I had more expectations for this chair. Even if you take the fact that it arrived damaged and you could simply replace it with the new one from the Noblechairs, which they offered to do so, I don't think this chair is made for the comfort, it's made for a show-off. And I think that's why it's the most expensive out of these 4 chairs. Yet it comes without the pillow, the lowest warranty, 2 years, one of the worst armrests, hardest surface to sit on, and cheap looking plastic covers. Is it the chair you want to pay 650 Canadian dollars for? Definitely not, because there are better alternatives out there. And now we are left with only 2 chairs. It's really hard to assign first or second place to either of these chairs. First of all, because they're made of the same parts. Secondly, despite that, they have their own feel and vibe. However, here are some differences that you may want to consider when you're buying either the SecretLab or the CybeArt chair. First are the armrests. Despite the fact that they're coming from the same company, somehow the SecretLab has them softer. Again, my version is the 2020 version of the Titan chair. Maybe it's different on the 2021 version, not sure. But when comparing these two chairs, I can tell you that the CybeArt is on the harder or firmer side than when compared to SecretLab. Next is the pillow. And the pillow is 100% better on the CybeArt. It's made of a better material, better fabric around it, and it holds better in place, just the way it was designed. While the SecretLab's one, if you look closer here, you'll see that it's about to tear away. And this chair is only 1 year old. The graphics quality is identical on both chairs, with one minor difference. The CybeArt is a newer company in the market, so they still have some evolution to go through the graphics until they find themselves and get to that point of where the SecretLab is. Their portfolio of the licensed covers for the chairs is massive, and on top of that, they do them so good that you want to buy a new chair pretty much every other month when they roll them out. The SecretLab may appear to be one of the most popular ones, but there is a trick to that they play, and it's a smart one. To extend your warranty, they ask you to share publicly the picture of your chair. And just think about it. People keep sharing, so more people can see the chair, and more people can get curious about it, and eventually more people will start buying it. Smart, isn't it? So don't underestimate our homegrown Canadian brand here, the CybeArt. I am sure they will come up with something like that as well. Since they're already paying a lot of attention to the details, and as we mentioned in the video, unlike the Noblechairs and the SecretLab, they even decided to cover that tiny hole around the lumbar support knob. And if you ask me, the devil is always in the details. And now is the most important difference between these two chairs, is the firmness of the support that they provide. With the SecretLab, you have a choice of 3 sizes to go with, and their foam is on the harder side when compared to the CybeArt. Yet, as we've shown you earlier, they didn't put enough foam in the edge of the base here, which may cause you some discomfort when your blood stops flowing to your legs. Unlike with the softer CybeArt, so you definitely won't be able to reach that metal bar from the seat base. At the end of the day, it comes to the point of choosing between the firmer support or the softer one. And by saying softer, I'm not saying it's soft like a couch, but it's definitely slightly softer, slightly plushier when compared to the SecretLab. And another factor that you may consider when you're buying one of these chairs is the global availability. Again, the CybeArt is a brand new company, and they're just working on the reach out to all the corners of the earth, while the SecretLab is pretty much everywhere. Everywhere you look. If you look today for a gaming chair online, for the next couple of weeks you will be bombed with the advertisement of the SecretLab in your region. Unless you live in Canada, because then you will also be bombed by CybeArt's advertisement as well. Therefore, my verdict is the first place and the second place are 1, and I am giving it to these 2 great products, great chairs that definitely will last you for quite some time. Their warranty is great. If this video was useful, make sure to share it with your buddies, girlfriends, mothers, fathers, and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for more, and click on that bell icon below as well, because it will tell you if there is a new video on my channel. I know that quality of my videos may suck compared to the Linus Tech Tips. What doesn't suck here is the information and the quality of information we provide, because the end user customer experience is at most of our priorities here. So stay tuned for more great videos coming up. And if you're planning to buy one of these chairs, make sure that you support our channel by using the referral links below in the description. As usual, it costs you nothing and it helps us create the content for you. Bye for now.